What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Frank Warren and Daniel Dubois. Frank Warren on Daniel Dubois states that he will be back in the game with a big win. We know the stakes will be high in his next fight to see how Daniel Dubois performs. And of course, the horrendous eye injury due to the hands of Joe Joyce was one of those things that made people think, will Daniel Dubois ever be back? Because it wasn't early. I think it was his 14th fight, okay? As far as smarts decisions go, this one by young Daniel was right up there and displayed a maturity beyond his years. None of us knew this at the time, and going over ground here should in no way detract from what was a superbly composed performance by Big Joe Joyce. Back to Saturday night's high-stakes shootout. Daniel Dubois has quite reasonably requested a low-key comeback with the odds stacked considerably in his favor. It was not an option that even entered his thinking, and he said from the get-go that he wanted a genuine test that would put him back in the thick of the heavyweight mix. So our task was twofold: to come up with an opponent to stir up his fighting juices, while also making sure that a win would mean something and bring a tangible reward. We worked hard to deliver in both respects. Daniel going up against Bogdan Dinu for the WBA interim heavyweight title is a big tick in boom boxes. The big Romanian, who is 20-2 with 16 via stoppages, is ranked very highly with the WBA and was already assigned a title shot at his title. He isn't coming over here to give Daniel a leg up back to the big time. He is here to fulfill his own ambitions, and you can see that he is in great nick and laser focused on the job at hand. So let me stop there. Daniel Dubois is fighting Bogdan Dinu, Jesus. And it's for the WBA interim. Now, the question I have is, how is Daniel Dubois fighting Dinu, and Joe Joyce is fighting for a international non-world title? That's what I want to know. I mean, because it's kind of weird to me. Because it's like, okay, Joe Joyce beat Daniel Dubois, but now Daniel Dubois is up for a mandatory or an interim. That's weird. You know, I mean, it looks like some strings were pulled here and there. A loss would require you a title shot. That's all people see. Joe Joyce made this man stop. He quit. He took a knee. He took a Colin Kaepernick, okay, in the 10th round. But now he's fighting for the WBA. Good old fish eyes in the place. I'm pretty sure there's a loophole and an explanation for it. I just don't know it. Because it just seems like to me, he took his first L. Joe Joyce is still undefeated. Joe Joyce had an opportunity with the WBO. You know, I get that because he was highly ranked on the WBO. But the WBA, I don't know where he was ranked. So I have to really look that up. It just seems weird to me, like the winner, or should I say the loser in this case, is granted permission for this type of position. Bars. So, but will Daniel Dubois be back? I think so, because let's look at Bogdan Dinu's record, right? All right, from Romania, he's 34 years of age, right? And his record consists of he was beaten by Pulev in 2019. I remember that fight. That's when Pulev kissed Jenny Suchet. Remember that? That made waves. And he also lost to Jarrell Miller. All right, so both of his losses are high quality losses. So I would say, who did he beat though? That was worth mentioning. Okay, I don't see him really beating anybody though. That's the problem, you know, because no one, I mean, I don't know any of these guys. I haven't heard of any of them. So, Bogdan Dinu looks like a fighter. He's tough. I mean, he could surprise you. This does show where Daniel Dubois is, because it will show if Daniel Dubois is at least on the level to guys like Jarrell Miller, which is undefeated, and Kubrat Pulev, which is twice beaten. He was beaten by Klitschko. He was beaten by Joshua. But those are two high-quality heavyweights. They're at least in the top 15, you know. And when you're thinking about those guys, and then you think about the guys, those two guys beating this guy, then you think of this guy, Bogdan Dinu, going in against once beating Daniel Dubois, which he really didn't have the experience it needed to beat Joe Joyce. Okay, so we'll see what because it's a totally different style that Dinu brings to the table, but Dinu is a guy that as I can see, folds when he goes to another level. So when he does elevate to that level, he comes up short. So let's see if Daniel Dubois is anywhere along the lines of those levels of those two guys, of Kubrat Pulev and Jarrell Miller. So we'll see that. Now, if it's a tough, close fight, we'll see that Bogdan Dinu didn't come to fold, and we'll see that Daniel Dubois may not be on the level as Kubrat Pulev and Jarrell Miller, because I'm gonna tell you, both of those guys knocked out Dinu. So with the firepower that Daniel Dubois, Mr. Triple D, supposed to have, he's supposed to get Dinu out of there. Okay, he's supposed to get him out of there, because if he doesn't get him out of there and it is a long fight, okay, well then we really have to question where this guy is. So now, you have to go back to the drawing board with Daniel Dubois if he cannot knock out Bogdan Dinu. But Frank Warren, is doing a good job. Of course, he was in awe, or should I say not even in awe. He was devastated when Daniel Dubois took that ass beaten by Joe Joyce, and he was peppered with that jab, that bazooka-like jab of Joe Joyce coming slow. Bah, bah. Here comes, right? So, he was kind of lost for words after that. And, Sam Smith was egging that on every step of the way. And that was 100% hilarious. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Frank Warren saying that Daniel Dubois will be back in action when he does beat Bogdan Dinu. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.